Good morning, everyone. I believe we're all here. If not, some stragglers can join us. I'm going to get us started. And we'll just start moving right away while we let some others join the class. Nice to see some of you again. I think there's some new faces also. My name is David Silver. I've been a student of Dr. Yang Ming from y.m.a.a in Boston since 2001. I became certified to teach Qigong in 2006 and have been teaching on Cape Cod since 2006. A few classes a week. I still work a day job for y.m.a.a.com, running the video department, making all the instructional Tai Chi and Qigong videos. So I'm extremely immersed in the topic. Get your shoulders moving and your upper back muscles. At first, you may find some uncomfortable or unresponsive muscles, but if you just keep breathing and keep moving, everything slowly will become hydrated and warmed up and will move a little more freely for you. We want to transition into slower, deeper breathing. So that means specifically inhaling at least 5 seconds and exhaling the same. Get your whole body bouncing now. Gently bounce through the knees. With weather like this, the pressure is different, so the pressure inside of our joints is different. And some of you might feel that already. If you have any arthritis, you might feel it a bit more. So we have to take a little extra time to warm up the muscles, the tendons, the joints, the bones, and everything in between. So you're bouncing gently without putting too much force into your knees, not too much body weight into the knees. Instead, it's a light bouncing feeling through the legs. When we're upright and bouncing, we're draining the lymph system. We're relieving tension from not only the joints, but the muscles and the fascia. So let yourself bounce loosely in order to relax and start relieving tension. Our goal is to locate and release physical tension anywhere that you find it in the body so that your circulation of qi energy can become more abundant. You can't circulate your energy through tight muscles and joints. So slow, deep, quiet, peaceful breathing. Inhaling at least 5 seconds, exhaling the same. Whenever possible, it's great to imitate the feeling of sighing out your breath. When you sigh, it's not just vaguely good for you, your skeletal muscle releases. So sighing is a way to elicit this muscular release that we need to take place. And then plant your feet firmly, and we're going to twist from side to side. Don't let your feet peel off of the floor. Don't lift your heels. And in this way, you should feel that twist through your feet and ankles, your knees and hips. Your waist is turning, and you can turn your chin from side to side so you get a full spinal twist, looking over your shoulder. Don't hold your breath. Inhale continuously and then exhale continuously. Don't constrict your breathing at all. For the last few repetitions, see if you can turn your neck a little bit further. without forcing anything. Don't push your luck. When you're ready, come back to the center and then big circle through the waist. Again, keeping the feet flat. We're loosening the hips and the lower back, the lumbar and the sacrum. But our main objective here is to energize all the way around the waist and lower back in a big continuous circle, stimulating this structure around the waist called the belt vessel. If you look on an anatomy chart, you'll see the red body with white bands of tendons down the center, and around the waist is a jagged line of tendon that goes around the waist. And if you look on an anatomy chart next to a acupuncture chart, you'll see that the vessels, which are like reservoirs of your energy, are located in these same exact places as the tendons. And this is because, of course, all of our different tissues have different bioelectric properties. The meridians are like rivers of energy that run lengthwise through the limbs. The yang channels are on the outside, the yin channels are on the inside. The vessels are more like a reservoir of your energy. And there's a big vessel down the front of the torso and up the back outside of the spine. And the belt vessel wraps around your waist. Then there's 4 big vessels in the legs. Now circle in the opposite direction. So by paying attention to this circular motion and concentrating on the feeling inside this movement, you're leading more energy than normal to stimulate the belt vessel. When the energy in the belt vessel is stimulated and functioning optimally, your whole body's energy can expand without constriction. When we lose the connection with the waist and it becomes tight and inflexible, your whole body's energy can't expand to its full potential. So this is a really easy way to sort of wake up the belt vessel, sometimes called the girdle vessel. When the energy in the belt vessel is strong, you have a strong feeling of your balance and your center. The belt vessel energy radiates out horizontally, so it gives you your orientation in space. This is an electromagnetic field which you can sense very subtly in its relationship to the electromagnetic field we're standing inside of right now, the Earth's electromagnetic field, which extends about 25 miles above your head. Now, we're going to bring the feet closer together and classic circling of the knees, like the warm-up for Kung Fu class. But slow it down and listen to the feeling. Concentrate on the sensation in the whole knee area. If you feel any pain or grinding, make the circle even smaller. If your knees don't have any pain at all, congratulations. You win. You're the only one. Most of us have some issues with the knee at some point, or sometimes constantly. It's the most delicate joint in the body. Keep breathing. This is a good opportunity to breathe deeply into the back of your lungs. Spread your shoulder blades out to the sides. Fill the back with air. If your knees are comfortable, gradually make the circle a little bit larger. This has been part of the warm-up for Kung Fu classes for hundreds of years, possibly thousands of years. It's becoming a very popular rehab exercise nowadays. when people go to physical therapy, we're practicing it as prehab instead. Now circle the knees in the opposite direction, starting with a small circle. Listen to the feeling in the whole knee area. There's no rush. It's not a competition. Everyone's knees are different. That old injury that didn't quite heal all the way that someone has, or that range of motion difference that you might have, all come into play. So you have to just individually pay attention to this subjective experience and gradually, gently stimulate the knees and gradually make the circle larger. This exercise in particular was used at Tufts School of Medicine by another y.m.a.a. teacher working as a mind-body consultant in a study to prove the benefits of Tai Chi for osteoarthritis. And this exercise in particular was proven to be the most beneficial way to prevent or heal osteoarthritis of the knee when it was weighed against walking, jogging, massage, or other physical therapy interventions. When you're ready, stand up straight, because newsflash, Qigong is good for you. I always say Qigong is ancient mind-to-body science, but it's also the future of medicine, in my opinion. We're stimulating the body on a cellular level, on a molecular level. And the more your mind and your intention gets involved, the more you accelerate the healing process. It's not rocket science, but it is science. When you're ready, shift your weight to one leg, and with your empty leg, circle. Pay attention to the feeling inside the circling leg. Again, you might be familiar with this as part of your warm-up for class, but we want to slow it down and get your mind 100% involved inside the movement. And the reason for that is our brain cells consume 12 to 15 times more oxygen than other cells in your body. So if I'm making this leg circle right now, of course there is energy involved on a cellular level. But if I'm circling my leg but thinking about going to the movies later, then this is calisthenics class. If I focus 100% of my mind into the circling leg, then it's Qigong. That's the difference. So much more energy becomes involved when you stop thinking. The energy settles down into the center line, returning to the center line of the body and becoming more abundantly available. Wherever your mind goes, energy flows. Not like a platitude or a vague metaphor, but actually. Bring your mind into the circling leg. And so it can be helpful for some people to have a sort of sequential approach in order to stay focused. Now circle in the opposite direction and listen for a moment to the feeling in your hip. Can you make the circle bigger? Are you moving the hip in its full range of motion? How does the hip feel? Is it painful? Is it comfortable? And then gradually spiral your way down through the thigh bone and bring your mind into the knee and go through that same process again. How does my knee feel? Sometimes make a big circle, sometimes smaller. The more you work on refining the movement, the more energy becomes involved. And then spiral down through the calf to the ankle. And down from the ankle through the ball of the foot that's pivoting on the floor, like you're draining tension out of the leg. And by going section by section, you're leading the mind through the leg, and the chi follows. The mind has to go first. The mind has to constantly be involved. Remember, in Qigong, we say, the yi leads the qi. Your intention leads your energy. And meanwhile, the standing leg is challenging on purpose. You want to wait for it to be a little bit uncomfortable. This is how we make the legs stronger, not just the muscles to be beautiful, but the joints to be healthy, and the bones and the bone marrow are stimulated in the process. They require this type of weight-bearing pressurization in order to function correctly. So instead of, Master Yang used to say, do you want to go for a 45-minute walk, or do you want to do this for 5 minutes? You decide. You have to do one or the other. Now switch your weight to the other side and circle the opposite leg. And we go through the same process again. Get your mind inside the circling leg and really listen to the feeling there. Our bones are stronger than concrete, but they're not inert. They're alive. In fact, just a couple of years ago, they discovered that the bones produce a hormone when they're stimulated correctly through activity that they now consider to be the master hormone of the body. Hormones matter in Qigong because hormones are a catalyst in your metabolism. Without a catalyst, processes happen very slowly. With a catalyst, processes are accelerated tremendously. So the catalyst in our internal alchemy is our hormones. That's the essence that they talk about in ancient Chinese documents. When we're preserving the Jing essence, they're referring to your chemistry, your hormones, your neurotransmitters, and your genetic predisposition. Our bones are a semiconductor, which means they don't conduct energy until they reach threshold voltage. And they require our weight-bearing pressurization or flexion in order for that to take place. So you have to be upright and moving, or upright and standing and pressurizing. Our bones are also piezoelectric, which means they require this stimulation for the circulation to flow through the bone. And within the femur and your pelvis is the bone marrow, where most of your red blood cells are manufactured. And like anything else in the body, we have to use it or lose it. The cells that get stimulated the least degenerate more quickly. So our goal in Qigong is to permeate the body all the way into the bone marrow and all the way out beyond the surface of the skin. Now circle in the opposite direction. Concentrate inside the circling leg. The pressure that builds in your standing leg is a good thing. You really want it to get to that point where you're kind of cursing my name a little bit. You're like, I want it to stop. Please make it end. This is how we strengthen the legs, and we prevent or reverse serious issues like osteoporosis. And I've had ladies go from severe early onset osteoporosis to osteopenia and then back to strong, healthy bones purely by stimulating the bones on a cellular level intentionally. That is the concept. And this one lady who was only 53 or something when she had her severe early onset osteoporosis, her doctor said, I don't know what this Qigong is, but you should keep doing it. But I always say we're not going to wait 50 years for their textbook to come out when they discover that when you stimulate the bones on a cellular level, they get healthy. We're just going to practice now and enjoy the benefits. When you're ready for the torture to be over, come back to the center and then walk it off. Move your feet, move your ankles, kick up your heels and move the knees. And then lift your knees to move the hips. And then we're gonna briefly practice the ragdoll stretch. Step into a wider stance, wider than your shoulders. And from the waist up, we're gonna drop the weight of everything. Drop the weight of your spine, drop the weight of your head, relax your shoulders and drop the weight of the arms. Completely loose and relax. This is not about touching your toes, it's about relieving tension from your back and your hamstrings. Don't hold your breath. Sigh out your exhalations and release any tension that's unnecessary. Relax your face, relax your abdomen. Be patient. Keep your knees very slightly bent in order to protect them while we wait for the very tough materials of your lower back and your hamstrings to gradually stretch. When you're ready, come up slowly. Give yourself a moment to regain equilibrium. You can help yourself to stand tall again by pressing the hands into the lower back and doing a micro back bend. The ragdoll stretch is something I recommend doing every day. And then we're going to raise the arms. Free form at first. Just interlock your fingers and lengthen your arms. Try to stretch any place that needs it. For a few repetitions, lift your shoulders up to your ears and drop them down. Hunch your shoulders up and drop them down. One more time, hunch your shoulders and then drop them and leave them down. They don't need to be tensed at all in order to raise your arms. Sway from side to side and stretch any place that needs it. It can be helpful to inhale and lengthen through the spine and arms. Exhale and soften. Relax your grip, relax any place that you're tensing unnecessarily. Don't think of having to muscle your way into this. Try to be passive and let things loosen and relax a bit. Do not hold your breath. Come back to the center. Relax your arms down to the sides. If your shoulders or hands are uncomfortable after that, just shake them out a bit. And then one more time, we're going to raise the arms. Interlock your fingers. Lengthen your arms, drop your shoulders. Straighten the arms if you can, right above the crown of your head. Sway from side to side. Stretch any place that needs it. When you're bending over to the side, you feel that stretch down the side of your rib cage, maybe all the way down into the hip. Just keep breathing. Wait for those muscles and tendons and fascia to gradually release. If we don't move our limbs in their full potential range of motion, then we will lose the ability to move our limbs in their full potential range of motion. And quickly what happens is the muscles shorten and atrophy, and the muscles pull the bones too close together. So all of a sudden your shoulder starts clunking. And then if you don't move beyond that, the shoulder starts to seize, and about 50% of people end up with frozen shoulder because they didn't move their arm. The tissue just tightens, adhesions become more sticky and permanent, and the tissue hardens and pulls the bones too close together. And when this happens around your rib cage, it constricts your lung capacity. You feel like you can't inhale more deeply, but you can. You can gradually continue to stretch the rib cage and open your chest and increase your lung capacity more and more and more. The more you do it, the more it will happen. Come back to the center, relax your arms and shoulders, shake it out a bit. So you always want to be mindful of the fact, remember, to free your skeleton from being a prisoner of the soft tissue. Make sure that you do the full range of motion stretching. Now we're going to get right into 4 gates Qigong, which is kind of the core of our practice. The 4 gates refers to the center of your palms where the middle finger touches the palm. This is the Lao Gong cavity. Some of you are familiar with this. In the center of the sole of your foot is the Yang Chuan cavity, which is located right about here, right in the middle of the foot, right behind the ball of your foot. There's a little divot there. Your fingertip fits right in. These gates are constantly wide open and exchanging your body's energy with the surrounding energy. When you exhale, it increases. When you bring your mind there, it multiplies. So in the practice, we're tapping into this already existing circulation and increasing it. As you inhale, you're lifting your arms only to about chest height. As you exhale, you're pressing the palms straight down. And you can bring your hands to the hips or even behind is fine. If you're saying, hey, that looks like begin Tai Chi. Yeah, it is exactly that. From a Qigong perspective, this is typically called opening the Qi. In most Tai Chi forms, you start in a Wu Ji posture, not moving, and then you begin Tai Chi, the first movement. Excuse me for that. Inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. Within this movement, first, we want to make sure we're standing up nice and straight. You're not tensing any muscles too much. You're not leaning forward or back. Your breathing is slow and deep, quiet and continuous. Your mind is focused on paying attention to the feeling within the movement. And gradually, once you bring the body, the breathing, and the mind into a single point of focused awareness in the present moment, then you can effectively lead the Qi, which is your bioelectricity. And in order to do so, your mind has to go first. So as you exhale, your mind is passing down the arms and legs, through the hands and feet, and beyond, at least a foot away from the physical body. You have to take aim at a target. That's why typically this type of Qigong is taught with visualizations to help you set your intention. Visualize you're exhaling and pushing a big beach ball down below the surface of the water. As you inhale, bring your mind into the center of the abdomen, and you can visualize a ball of energy glowing brightly in there. And then you're just moving. Exhaling, your mind is in the hands and feet and beyond. Inhaling, your mind is inside the center of the abdomen, drawing in energy. You can enhance the feeling of drawing your energy in by involving reverse abdominal breathing. Specifically, that means that when you inhale, you're pulling the abdomen in and lifting the pelvic floor up and filling your lungs at the same time. When you exhale, you release the muscles out and down. It can feel counterintuitive to some people to fill your lungs and pull those muscles in and up at the same time, but that is intentional. Inhale, you're gathering energy into the center of your abdomen. Exhale, beyond the hands and feet. This circulation is taking place all day, every day of your life. Sometimes muscular tension gets in the way and narrows the circulation. Some meridian can be narrowed or blocked. But in general, the circulation is taking place to some degree. Keep going, a couple more repetitions and I'll explain. The Lao Gong is on the pericardium channel. The pericardium is a sac around your heart. In traditional Chinese medicine, it is considered an organ in and of itself. In Western medical science, it's just part of the heart. You can think of the pericardium as like the radiator for your heart's motor, and it's constantly releasing excess energy in order to maintain equilibrium in the heart. The movement of the pelvic floor pumps the whole body's circulatory system. And when you pull the abdomen in and up, it also pushes the fluid inside your spine up into the brain. And a recently circulating CT scan of the brain while this is happening has been released because of this new high definition technology. And it's surprising how much fluid motion takes place with each abdominal breath, which nourishes the limbic system, the pituitary gland, and the pineal gland, your third eye. Pituitary is generating your human growth hormone. The pineal gland is your melatonin. Now, the same exercise, but out to the sides. Inhale, lift your wings. Exhale, flap your wings. Inhale, pull the abdomen in and up. Open the chest. Exhale, flap your wings. Relax the abdomen. Get into a comfortable rhythm where you don't need to think about the movement anymore. Try to slow down and deepen your breath. And then focus 100% of your mind on leading the chi. Exhale beyond the hands and feet. Slow it down. Take an extra sip of air if you can. Try to push to increase the lung capacity. And gradually through this motion, we get the whole body's circulation moving, and you'll start to have a stronger and stronger physical experience of your chi in the hands, which is typically the easiest place for people to feel it. But if you're practicing Qigong one day and you don't feel your energy, you're distracted, your mind is racing, you didn't sleep last night, you're in a bad mood, you're not feeling particularly spiritual, you're not into it, you're just not feeling the qi, we have a trick. As you exhale, wave your fingers. We force the qi circulation to take place a little bit mechanically. But by moving all 10 fingers, our intention moves through all of the channels that flow through the arms, which ultimately benefit the internal organs that they're connected to. So sometimes waving the fingers is a good way to sort of jumpstart your qi circulation and get yourself into that state of higher circulation, whether you feel like it or not. In my view, it's great to practice this every once and again anyway, just to make sure that you're really connecting to all of the channels through the arms. But now the difference. Keep going and I'll explain a bit more. When I'm wiggling my fingers, my intention is in my hand in order to lead the qi there to make this movement take place. I'm manifesting the qi into my structure. So I'm going to get really beautiful, strong, muscular hands. But our real goal is to circulate the qi through the hand and beyond. And that's why we typically practice without that motion and a very soft kind of feeling through the hands. Both approaches are valid and equally useful, but you want to be mindful of the difference. When you're practicing a Qigong that terminates at your wrist or with a tight fist, that means you're practicing a harder style of Qigong, as in soft style, hard style, where you're manifesting the qi into your physical structure, as opposed to fully soft Qigong or fully y.m.a.a internal elixir practice, where the qi is just moving through you. The physical body is not a barrier anymore. You want to understand that difference. This exercise is a great one to spend some time with because it's so easy to remember. Everyone can identify with a bird flying through the air. It has that sort of soft, graceful, flowing, mesmerizing vibe that people associate with Tai Chi and Qigong. So it's one that I recommend taking home and remembering and maybe trying to give 15 minutes sometime. Ideally, barefoot in the backyard, outdoors, fresh air, feet on the ground in order to uptake electrons, which do not happen when we have rubber-soled shoes. Now the movement slowly becomes smaller. And smaller, bringing the hands in front of the abdomen. And then we're going to press the palms towards one another without letting them touch. Exhale, and you're bringing the hands closer. Inhale, move them apart. Inhale, really fill your lungs. When you exhale, completely empty your lungs. Push the last bit of air out. It's often at that moment when you really push the last sip of air out of your lungs that you feel the qi manifest in the hands. In general, there's no rule about Qigong breathing, but you want to just think logically about it. Anytime you want to manifest your energy outward, like I'm going to push my broken down Volkswagen Beetle for the 50th time this month. I inhale deeply, exhale and push, right? The exact same thing is happening in our Four Gates practice. We're manifesting our energy outward due to our strong intention, no car. We have to have a singular focus to lead the qi. Ultimately, whether you feel your qi today or not doesn't much matter. It's there. Gradually, the more you do this, the more reliable the experience will become and the stronger it will feel. It can feel like a slight coolness or warmth tingling in the center of the palm or a buzzing on the surface of your hand. It can feel like you're pulling taffy or squeezing a cushion, or like you're trying to press two magnets together, because it is electromagnetic in nature. And it can even feel like there's a solid object in there, but you have to almost be asleep, way into that state of deep meditation. And when you do have that experience of deep meditation and feeling your energy, all of a sudden it's not so subtle anymore. It's profoundly substantial. And the basic story of that is our subtle energy is actually much more profound and powerful than our physical experience. It's not a minor aspect of having a physical body. It's the basis of your existence. It's why your brain can function so that you can understand me. It's why that I can move around, why we all exist. The physical body is a weird side effect of having an energy body. The physical body is temporary. This energy body is forever. But that's a whole nother story. Okay, now we get into palms face up. Inhale, reach forward. Extend through all 10 fingers. And then exhale, push your palms back behind you. And you're gently stretching the shoulders and chest. The first few repetitions, we're really just stretching and finding your range of motion. Inhale, reach forward, fill your lungs, abdomen in. Exhale, push the palms back behind you. Reaching back, stretching the shoulders and chest. And gradually, we soften the movement so that it's not so muscular, you're not stretching so much. Get into a flow so that you inhale 5 or 6 seconds. Exhale the same. If you're feeling like you want to jump start to your chi circulation, you can always move the fingers a bit. Visualize the hands leaving a trail through the air. Or the hands and feet emitting light. We are actually bioluminescent, but it's very faint. Because of course we are. Energy is what comprises our entire body. Energy is simultaneously heat, light, and electromagnetic field. You can think of your energy as this mundane thing like your metabolism. You ate a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you metabolized it into energy, there's your qi in the form of glucose molecules and ATP and nitric oxide moving through your muscles. Or you can investigate it a little more deeply and recognize that not only the food that we eat and the fat that we metabolize, but also the air that we're inhaling is full of ions. And we're constantly drawing in fresh sources of energy, especially on foggy, rainy days. That's the good qi. Negative ions. Negative ions are molecules that are missing an electron. And so when we inhale negative ions, which you'll find in the forest, at the beach, near a waterfall, anywhere that water is in transition from liquid to gas, mist, fog, It will take excess electrons, and it has a soothing effect and an anti-inflammatory effect within about 20 minutes. The same four-gate circulation is taking place here. You're inhaling and filling your lungs. You're exhaling, emitting your energy beyond the hands and feet. You can always visualize the feet growing roots deeper and deeper into the earth. Not only are we mobilizing the qi within our bodies through these repetitive motions, we're also clearing the energy field immediately surrounding the body gradually. And you can enhance that by visualizing expanding your energy with every breath. As you exhale through the hands and feet, your whole body's skin is also exhaling. Your energy expands outward in a sphere surrounding the body, clearing out blockages, making this very clean space surrounding the body. If you think, I can't expand my mind beyond the envelope of my skin, I can't breathe through my hands and my skin, it is actually already happening. You don't really have to be involved if you don't want to. As you exhale, your skin is exhaling. But in Qigong, we're always trying to find naturally occurring processes and reverse engineer them, because Qigong is science. How can I make this happen sooner and faster? Better. In Qigong, our goal is increase the quantity of qi and improve the quality of your circulation. We're not trying to magically create this energy field surrounding your body. It's already there. We have these overlapping layers like donuts, toruses of energy. That's the shape of them in the electromagnetic field. Up out of the top, back in at the bottom. And that is your body. That's your aura. That's your qi. Your heart's electromagnetic field is 18 feet in diameter. So when you're exhaling and thinking about expanding your qi, reach way out there. At the very least, you can expand out through your heart field and connect to that energy field of your body. And then we're just tapping into this already existing situation and utilizing it for our advantage. Now, palms face up. Inhale, draw your elbows and shoulders back. Again, the first few repetitions we're stretching. Stretch your chest and shoulders. Fill your lungs. And then exhale, swoop your arms forward, sink your chest, round your back like a turtle shell, and coil the arms to their full range of motion so the palms face away from one another. And then we repeat it. Inhale, stand up straight. Stretch the shoulders and chest and back. Fill your lungs. Exhale, swoop forward, sink your chest, round your back like a turtle shell, and coil the arms. When we add twisting, now you really get deep into relieving tension from the muscles, the tendons, and the fascia. Fascia is like this interconnected web from your toes to your fingertips of various types of fascia that are this interconnected web. After a few repetitions, soften the movements a bit. Get into that flow again, where you don't need to think about the movement anymore. Check your breathing. Can you inhale a bit more? Exhale completely. Inhale and draw your abdomen in, lift the pelvic floor up. Exhale, push those muscles out and down. This time of year, around summer solstice and when it's just hot and muggy in summer, we want to make sure that our breath is matching. If you inhale for 6 seconds, exhale for 6 seconds. Sometimes we have a tendency to inhale or exhale longer than the other. So you want to be mindful of that in your Qigong practice. This time of year is the safest time to really experiment with your breathing. It's pretty hard to go wrong. The only thing you don't want to do at the height of summer is a lot of ha sound breathing, because ha sound breathing will make your body physically hot and energetically yang. And while the natural energy is at maximum yang outside, you can give yourself a summertime cold by maxing out your system. So you can safely practice the hen sound breathing in summertime, but it's really not necessary. Hen sound is when you're emphasizing your inhalation, and that cool type of inhalation, like the kind of inhalation at the base of the throat that we do when we're scared or we're sad. It shrinks your energy, it cools the body down. This time of year, you can safely practice that, but it's not really necessary. Just don't use the ha sound in the middle of summer. So many yoginis, people who practice yoga, practice the ujjayi breath, unfortunately, year round. So they're like, and then they're like, I have a cold again. I don't know why. That's why. Ha sound is great for you in the autumn and the winter and early spring. Keeps up your shields. It raises up your energy status. It makes your immune system more responsive. It also raises your spirit. When your spirit is higher, your chi circulation is higher. When your chi circulation is higher, your spirit is higher. Two sides of the same coin. Now when you're ready, relax your arms and keep making this exercise, but very small, right in front of the body, like this tiny little circle. Inhaling as your palms are up, exhaling as your hands are circling. Sometimes when you're practicing Qigong and you've got your circulation moving, and then you take an exercise and make it very small scale, it can be an opportunity to feel your subtle energy more profoundly. Listen to the sensation in your hands. We're manifesting less of it into big physical movements, so we can feel our subtle energy a little bit more in the hands. And then a similar exercise, but only one arm. You're gonna place your palm facing up. It looks similar, but we're getting deeper into the body now. You're gonna inhale and draw your elbow and shoulder back. And then exhale and whip your hand forward. And visualize that there's a globe in front of you, like a ball here, horizontally. As you exhale, you're circling out and around the outer perimeter of that ball. And then as you inhale, you're drawing your hand along the inside circle. Exhale out here, inhale in here. You vaguely want to connect to and adhere to the shape of this ball, but you don't really strictly have to stay connected to it continuously. And now our goal is to bring this circle into the body. Exhale. You're exhaling from the outside around towards the inside. Center line. Exhale out here. Inhale into the center. And then our goal is to bring it into the body by turning your waist. Inhale, turn your waist, draw the arm back. Exhale, turn your waist to whip the arm forward. Focus on just the arm following the waist. Your waist moves first, your arm follows passively. And our goal is to create this singular pulse of energy from the waist, up the back, down the arm, and beyond the hand. This is from the Tai Chi Qigong series called Lion Plays with the Ball. What matters the most, not so much staying adhering to the ball because we're not really training for pushing hands or combat. We're adapting this for our energetic needs. And what we want out of this exercise is to thread our body together like a string of pearls and experience a singular chi from the toes to the fingertips to the top of the head. So not only are you turning your waist from one side to the other side, but now we want to get it into the legs by very slightly shifting your weight 5 or 10% into one foot and then 5 or 10% into the other. So you're pushing from the foot, turning through the waist, waving through the hand, sequentially. The Tai Chi classics said the movement is generated in the legs, directed by the waist, manifests in the hands. And you're probably familiar with that sequence of movement from punching, striking. This is the same basic principle behind Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. That rooting through the feet, directing through the waist, manifesting from the hands. Of course, the same 4-gate circulation is always happening. Each time you're exhaling, there's that pulse of energy beyond that outstretched hand. Very nice. And now let's see if we can get the other arm to be equally as graceful. So, first, just the arm. You're inhaling and drawing the elbow and shoulder back. Exhaling and whipping that arm forward in towards the center and around. Inhale, draw the arm back. Exhale, whip it forward. Turn your waist to draw the arm back. Turn your waist to whip your arm forward. The waist moves first. And your arm is just passively going along for the ride. When your intention moves your waist, immediately a pulse of energy moves up your back, down the arm, and beyond that outstretched hand. And then finally, deepen it further by getting into the legs again. Shift your weight 5 or 10% into one leg, 5 or 10% into the other leg. Push from the foot first. And if you haven't done this recently or ever or for a while, it's awkward until it's not. It's something that requires repetition. And one day it will just click for you, and that sequence of moving from the legs, directing with the waist, manifesting in the hands will feel very natural, and it's very mesmerizing and addictive. It's just something that practitioners will practice for months and months and years, because it's one of these fundamental skills that only comes through lots of repetition to get it into your body memory and your reflexes. Meanwhile, just make little micro adjustments. Check yourself. Can I turn my waist further this direction and that direction? Am I shifting my weight equally into one foot and the other foot? Am I still making a circle with my hand, or has it become a parallelogram? Try to get into that state where the whole body is moving in unison simultaneously while it's coordinated with your breathing, and everything is pretty soft and comfortable. Very nice. Isolating one arm really lets us get into this whole body aspect of the practice. You also get a chance to train this with silk reeling. And I'm going to try to back away from the camera and let you all see more. Silk reeling, I'm going to turn around. Actually, I'll use my left arm so that you can use your right arm so I can watch you. Silk reeling comes to us from Chen style Tai Chi, as the story goes. You're going to inhale and scoop. Reach across your body. Exhale and circle. Ideally, we want to make a big, perfect circle. Inhale at the bottom. Exhale, palm faces away from your forehead. And again, we want to make this a whole body practice. So that means turn your waist and then turn your waist. And get into that feeling where the waist is generating the movement and your arm is just going along for the ride. We can make this a little bit more flowing and fluid because we're not practicing pushing hands right now. We're not training for Tai Chi power manifestation. We're purely working on developing our whole body Qi. So the waist is turning, that pulse of energy moves up the back, down the arm, beyond your outstretched hand. And then again, get the legs involved. Shift your weight, 10% in this side, 10% in the other side. You're pushing from the foot first. If you're just practicing Qigong for your health, you might be thinking, I don't care about Kung Fu stances. I don't really need that aspect of the training. But it's just a fact that the ideal alignment for our kinetic energy is the same ideal alignment for your intrinsic energy circulation. And we need to get the legs involved, to exercise the legs. You need to build some muscle mass in the legs in order to support your immune system. Leg training just needs to be involved and part of your Qigong for health. Silk reeling has that flowing, mesmerizing feeling. In Yang style, this is typically called yin-yang symbol sticking hands. Same thing. Now, same thing with your other arm. Let's see if we can get it to comply with our commands. You're going to inhale and scoop. You're reaching across your body. And then you're exhaling, circling, the palm faces away from your forehead. When you're inhaling and scooping, the hand is yin. When you're exhaling, the palm faces away, it's yang. So you can see this circular pattern is really pleasant to practice with a partner. One person leading and then the other person leading. But for our purposes, it's just a great way to start really experiencing the whole body aspect of Qigong practice. Turn your waist to one side and to the other side. Get your legs involved, shifting your weight 10% to one side and then 10% to the other. Pushing from the foot, turning through the waist, waving through the hand. The whole body moves in unison. No pause in your breathing whatsoever. Everything is relaxed, soft, and flowing. Within this movement, there's a subtle energy that you can use if you like. You don't have to, but it's good for your health. And that is called Pong, which means ward off. In Tai Chi, it is one of the moving patterns, but it's also a principle present inside of many of the moving patterns. And it's a feeling of keeping your elbow away from the chest, sinking your chest and rounding your back, but it's so subtle, it's barely visible. It's an opening of the chest and chi circulation of the torso. Pong. It's not a word in Chinese language. It's only a word in Tai Chi and Qigong culture. Warding off not only refers to bouncing away an opponent, but also warding off negative pathogens, raising up your energy, expanding your energy to shield yourself with this protective energy from negative pathogens of wind, damp, cold, frequencies of energy that are not healthy. Now come back to the center. Silk reeling is another one that is so pleasant and mesmerizing if you catch the feeling for it and you like it. I highly recommend, remember it, take it home and try giving it 15 minutes. Don't agonize over the details and really let yourself just get into the zone and see where you can go with it. Our goal is to forget the physical body to the degree where you can experience the energy body more abundantly. And that will just come over time and repetition. That's the gong in Qigong, is effort and time. Now, the neck. We can't neglect the neck because it's a common problem for most people. If people have difficulty feeling their qi in meditation or in their arms or in their hands during Qigong, it's almost always because of tension in the upper back and the neck. And so very simply, you're just going to drop your ear towards the shoulder. Don't force the head over, just like gravity, pull your head down and then relax there. Don't push it over. Once you feel a gentle stretch between your ear and the shoulder, inhale deeply and concentrate on that sensation of tension. As you exhale, visualize dissolving it. A few slow, deep breaths. Inhale, concentrate on the tension. Exhale, release it. Soften more and more. And then very gently, slowly come up to the center. And very gently and slowly drop your head to the other side. Once you feel that stretch, don't push your luck. Just release that tension each time you exhale. Stay there. Concentrate on the feeling in the side of the neck. With each exhalation, imitate the feeling of sighing out your breath. Soften the muscles of your shoulder and back. Again, come up to the center. Other side, but this time slightly change the angle. Turn your chin so that you're not overworking that exact same area. Again, once you feel a stretch, just stay there. Inhale, concentrate on that feeling of tension. Notice that it intensifies as you inhale typically. Exhale, release it. Slowly come up to the center. Same thing on the opposite side. Change the angle slightly. A few big deep breaths, relieving tension in the side of your neck. When you're ready, come back up to the center slowly. We're going to circle the head, but don't roll your neck back like this. We're going to circle and bring the chin forward and then from side to side, but don't roll way back because it's okay to do that occasionally, slightly. But if you tilt your head all the way back and roll across, over time you can grind the cartilage away and people develop arthritis of the neck in that area. So we're just loosely circling the head in one direction and then in the opposite direction. And if you found some tension in the side of your neck, which I'll bet most of us did, this is just a reminder to not neglect the neck. We have to work on the neck whether we like it or not. And there's typically so much tension in the neck and shoulders that we have to spend a lot of time working on it until it's fully resolved. So it's better done by just reminding yourself 3 minutes a day, a few times a week. That gentle, consistent progress is the best approach, rather than waiting till it's painful and then you have to try to climb out of that hole of super intense muscular tension. Before we proceed any further, does anyone have any questions? If you do, you can either put it in the chat window so that we can save time to address it, or I will definitely be saving some time for the end of class also.
I have a question.
Lay it on me.
Okay. So I think this is something you touched on a little bit in terms of like putting the body out of balance in hotter or colder environments, like we're dealing with some science fiction heat these days. And then we get back into the deep freeze and like I think sort of going over what sort of breathing is appropriate or inappropriate to do to put the body into or out of balance in those extreme situations. You'd mentioned that like in the, I think probably in the spring and the fall, you were saying maybe it's a little bit easier to stay in balance because you're not as, you know, extreme on either end. Yes. But if you could talk a little bit about that, that would be fantastic.
Sure, I will. The hen sound and the ha sound, you may be familiar with them from Kung Fu or Tai Chi. Like when you're striking, you go ha, or in karate, you go kiai. Same thing. When you're playing tennis, you go ah. The exact same thing. You're manifesting your energy outward. People do it without realizing it. When we're trying to reverse engineer that for our Qigong health, it's a more subtle version. But in general, this time of year right now is the only time that's safe to practice the hen sound. And the hen sound is named that because it's what it sounds like. The ha sound is like you're trying to fog up a window or a mirror. It's an exhalation slowly at the base of the throat, slightly constricting, which generates this internal pressure and heat, and it manifests energy out through the pores of the skin. You'll break a sweat, you'll get hot, your immune system will be robust. The opposite is the hen sound, and it's like, but we typically practice these healing sounds silently. So you get the fully manifested version of it as a reference point, and then you dial it down to a quiet version. For instance, the ha sound, if you're in a healing crisis, you practice the ha sound fully manifested, like but typically for our health, well, and our general practice, you want to practice what's called scholar fire, which is quiet, peaceful, and barely audible, or not at all audible, at the base of the throat, like. It almost sounds like when you're pissed at someone. You're like. So that ha sound we use in the autumn to prepare for winter. We use it all through winter, especially at the height of winter. We can sort of get aggressive with it and make a lot of progress with our chi in a safe environment. And then in the spring, we start dialing it down again. In the summertime right now, if you need to cool down, if you're perpetually hot, or if you're dealing with hot flashes, which I hear from a lot of folks, the hen sound means two things. One, inhale longer than exhale. You have to be mindful about inhaling for 6 or 7 or 8 seconds, and then exhaling like 4 or 5 seconds. And in doing so, you're gradually drawing your energy down. It's expanding less. It settles down. It calms into the center line. Your body becomes cooler. And in general, you calm down. So inhale longer than exhale, and then the very slightest constriction at the base of the throat, almost silent, but it's like. And then you just let the exhalation go. And my best advice about the hen and ha sound is experiment with it until you actually do it and you catch the feeling of it, and then you start eliciting this response repeatedly. It's normal to be like, is that real? I'm kind of skeptical. I don't know. It's kind of confusing. But once you just do it and you get that feeling, then you catch the trick of how to reliably elicit that response. Then it becomes very difficult for you to catch a cold or a flu or feel sick ever. And I would only say such a claim because I was previously an incredibly sickly person my entire life until I was 30. I began Qigong practice a few years after that, and starting to experiment with and understand the ha and hen sound, I stopped getting sick, and I continued to stop being sick until now. I'm 54 years old. So that's why I'm such a chi evangelist. It works. You just got to do it. So I hope that was clear. It's
yes, thank
it's
you.
as simple as
Maybe a little bit about.
Say again.
Go ahead. Can you talk a little bit maybe about like, so I know Dr. Long had gone through so you can use sound and then the duration of breathing in and out, and then you can also use holding the breath as a method.
Holding the breath,
you recommend?
in general, we sort of recommend against, but you can you can read a bunch about it. But there are some inherent dangers if you don't practice very correctly and have a teacher to like ask questions when things go weird or
Weird.
haywire.
Okay, sure.
So in general, unless you're trying to get into intermediate and advanced qigong training, like enlightenment training, you start forcing the energy into your central channel by drawing it in and holding the breath and
Hmm.
forcing the energy where it doesn't naturally want to go until it gradually builds up momentum and does want to go there. But yeah, don't hold your breath. In
Okay,
general,
not like on the end of your in or the end of your out, like even for a little bit.
you slightly linger at the end of your exhalation or your
Okay,
inhalation, but we don't call it like tightly holding your breath. It's
right.
just like
Okay,
you're out of breath and you're pausing before you intake breath, but there should never be any constriction involved. Because when you get into
okay, that makes sense.
hard holding of your breath, it can do stuff to the blood vessels in your lungs. And Master Yang had
Okay.
a training partner in Italy who was a very advanced practitioner who practiced wrong and killed himself by breathing
Mm.
exercises. So
Oh, is this the guy who drowned? He was talking about a friend of his
yeah,
who drowned. Yeah,
he was trying
yeah.
to practice turtle breathing,
Yes.
did not do it correctly. So in general, it's better to play it safe unless you need to really push your health intensely for some reason or for some spiritual pursuit. So
Thank you.
unless anyone has another question, I have a couple more exercises I would like to lead us through.
Just so you know, I've got about 5 minutes before my kung fu people start to storm the castle, so I'll mute myself and you can carry on as long as you want. But if
Great.
I disappear, thank you so much for coming through and doing the class, and I'll hope to catch the end if I miss it on the YouTube.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'll stick it out for a while for anyone who's able to stay because this is some fun stuff. So thank you, Lindsay. For a moment, tap the top of your head. This is the Bai Hui cavity. In yoga, it's the crown chakra. It has a different name in classical Buddhism 2,500 years ago. And in the Vedas, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago. It's an important point, but we have to tap it. You can take your hand away now and listen. You can still feel it. Once you've stimulated it, you can listen and you can still feel that place, right? It's difficult to put your mind there and feel it. So by tapping, we sort of wake it up through this stimulation. This point in the top of the head is, you can consider it the fifth gate. It's also open and exchanging your energy with your surroundings. And to get into the esoteric side a little bit, when you're asleep, sometimes your energy body emits out of the top of the head and goes places and then comes back. And at the end of life, during a natural death, the energy body emits from the top of the head and doesn't come back. So in our practice in Qigong, one of the things we want to do is strengthen the energy body and our ability to be mindful of this place and work with it, because some cool things happen. So now that you can feel that place, we want to practice cleansing and nourishing. You're reaching your arms out to the sides and your hands are drawing down as if we're calming our energy down. Very commonly at the end of a Qigong practice, you'll see people practice this, condensing the Qi. It's this idea of drawing your energy down out of the head, down into the body, and delivering the abundance of it into the abdomen, because the abdomen is capable of storing your Qi to a higher and higher capacity. The target that we're aiming for inside the abdomen is not on the surface of the abdomen. It's all the way back, just in front of your spine, deep inside the abdomen. So draw your mind in there when you're delivering Qi into that place. But for now, we're just calming our energy down, and there should be also a feeling like your hands can comb right through your physical body and your energy field and you're gathering impurities and clearing your internal energy field and also this larger external field surrounding the body. Every few breaths, shake your hands and sort of set an intention into the earth to get this accumulated impurities off your hands. They're electromagnetic in nature, and some of you may feel they kind of feel sticky to the hands. It's just because we have a strong intention in our hands, and you want to make sure to really intentionally let go of it. Simultaneously, we want to start drawing down energy from above in through the top of the head as you inhale. Exhale and let it fill the body. So you can visualize this light as bright white or amber colored energy pouring in through the top of the head, illuminating the brain, your head, your thyroid, your heart and lungs, filling your arms and legs until you're soaking in this bright white light. Some people are visual. You may be able to visualize that bright light with your eyes closed or open. If not, either way, with every repetition, inhale through the top of the head, down through the center of the body, and fill the body with this bright light. It's assisting with this cleansing process. The top of our head is tethered to the yin side of the universe, to the spiritual side of life. And this tether acts like a conduit for this higher frequency energy that we don't often tap into, but we're capable of. First, we're cleansing the body and clearing space and using this bright white or golden colored light to sort of modulate our frequency, our brainwave frequency. Tapping into the highest spiritual energy frequency that we can typically manifest in the material plane. But we can use that frequency as a conduit to reach an even higher frequency that is not typically available to us. Now that we've cleansed the body, we want to modulate the frequency. Visualize drawing down bright ultraviolet light, bright purple, sometimes called indigo light, pouring down through the top of your head, through the center of your brain. You're inhaling it to draw it in, pull the abdomen in at the same time to assist with that drawing in process. Exhale and release it inside your body. Again, inhale, drawing down. Visualize that ultraviolet purple light filling the top of the head, the brain, your arms and legs until you're completely soaking in it. Very quickly, it fills the body. Some people who are very visual, when your eyes are closed, will see a sort of murky movement across your mind's eye, or will even see sort of a vaguely defined purple circle. You may hear the energy as your nerves become more stimulated, the ringing in your ears increases. Once we've drawn that high frequency energy into the body, we want to make sure that we're really reaching all of the toes and fingertips. So bring your intention from the top of the head down through the center line, down the arms and legs, completely filling all the hands and feet. And our goal is to connect with this higher frequency energy and identify with it as being a component of our true selves. Whether you feel it or not, it is happening. You're inhaling down, filling the body. You can practice this for a long time. You can share that energy with other people. For now, we're just nourishing the body. Now bring your hands together to seal the energy, which is typically emitting from the palms. And bring the thumbs to touch the hand and touch your chest. Yes, it looks like prayer position. Your thumbs are right in front of your thymus gland. Tilt your head up slightly to connect to that conduit through the top of the head. Maybe you can still slightly feel the vibration of the bai hui at the top of the head. You're inhaling through that place and exhaling through that place in the top of the head. And then we want to take a moment to recognize that higher energetic frequency and this energy body that we're working with are our true selves. You are not your body, you are not your emotions, you're not your thoughts. You are that. And that energy body we gradually work with and strengthen and recognize, and we invite this higher frequency energy into our body more often for longer periods of time. And through that process, the energy body is there for you when you need it. And at times of crisis, or even in serious situations like the moment of death, you're able to recognize that energy body and that higher self and operate from that place, which it has inherently your wisdom and better judgment making. And they say, if you can recognize that energy body, be familiar with it at the time of death, and rather than getting scared and bewildered during death, you just meditate on the energy aspect of your being, you can transcend the process of reincarnation. So we start now to train ourselves to feel the energy and strengthen our energy body and recognize it as our true selves, so that when we suddenly encounter it at death, we go, oh yeah, I've been doing this already. And then you go where you like. When you're ready to transition out of your Qigong practice, swing your arms, rock back and forth, lift your toes, lift your heels, sigh out a few exhalations. And I'll just close by briefly saying, whether you're a spiritual or religious person, or a fully agnostic or church-burning atheist, is super entirely irrelevant. Because as you practice Qigong and your energy increases, the spiritual side just dawns upon you. So no one is more surprised than I am to suddenly have this accidental seed of faith happening in my body. And I'm just sharing it purely because of my experience of discovering it very naturally and researching it extremely thoroughly to get to the bottom of what it is they're talking about and what it is I'm experiencing. So I'm happy to share it, because for anyone who is spooky or likes that aspect of the practice, or maybe has an experience that they weren't counting on from a Qigong class or a Qigong practice at home, to let you know that there is a whole body of work and a whole section traditionally that pertains to that type of experience and that type of path of your practice. It's a thing. So anyone have any other questions? I want to let you know also that when we work on Qigong, sometimes you might feel like, whoa, I'm very alert. I got that Qigong buzz. I'm like in a good mood. I'm happy. I'm super energetic. And then at 9 o'clock, you might be like, wow, I'm still super alert and energetic. And then at like 1 in the morning, you might be like, oh man, I'm super alert and energetic. Help. That's also a thing. And in that case, some people are naturally energetic, some people naturally learn quickly, others of us work to find our chi and connect to it or whatever. Either way, when you practice qigong or energy work and you feel an abundance of your chi, it becomes increasingly important that you lead it to the center and bring it into the real lower dantian inside your abdomen so that it can be stored for later rather than staying in circulation today. So I advise anyone who's concerned about that or has insomnia issues to just simply mindfully bring your mind down along the center line into the abdomen and really intentionally stay in there for a few breaths or a few minutes. Draw your energy in and charge that center where it can be stored to avoid that sort of common problem of insomnia and overstimulation, which is my baseline of existence. That's how I found Qigong and backwards. I didn't go to Qigong class to get energy and find my Qi. I went to Master Yang saying, help! I was 30 years old. I felt like a 13-year-old of like absolutely spastic, insane energy out of control and weird energetic experiences and meditation experiences, and entered my path backwards to try to settle it down and find the center and do all of the many steps of work to become calm and relaxed ish. Well, this has been recorded, and Lindsay is going to provide you the link in a day or so. It's a intentionally fundamentals class. You don't have to do the exercises in any particular order. You can skip ahead and go to the one you like, or use this as a regular daily class or whatever. It's a very efficient use of your time to make Qigong progress. You do these, 80 minutes of exercise that we just did a few times a week. It's enough for you to start being like, whoa, my energy is changing. And that's probably enough information for today. I have to cut myself off. I'll never stop. Thank you so much. It is my honor and privilege, and it's been really fun. Sorry that it's over. Anyone get in touch anytime, CapeCodQigong.com or y.m.a.a. Cape Cod, and I'm happy to discuss Qigong anytime.
Thanks so much for your time and expertise, David. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.